Hello, my loves, and welcome to a new episode of Publisher's Brunch with Karis. My name is Karis. I am your host, the titular Karis, if you will, and I'm here to introduce today's episode to you. I like to start out these episodes with a cute little intro, talk about myself, talk about myself, talk about how I'm doing, what the world is like, what romance I've been reading lately. But before we dive into all of that, I should introduce you to the show. So, Publisher's Brunch is a show, it's a podcast devoted to romance creators and curators, which is the sort of catchphrase I've come up with for it because I'm hoping to expand beyond just authors. I would love to include interviews with audiobook narrators, with agents who sell romance novels, with editors who work on romance novels, and eventually I would love to move into producers, actors, directors, screenwriters who work on adaptations of romance novels. So that's pretty exciting. It's all a part of my master plan to eventually have a romance-focused media empire. But we don't need to get into the four-pronged plan of action just yet because that is years and years away. For today, this is Publisher's Brunch. I talk to romance people, and we pretend we're at brunch, and it's a grand old time. So, my name is Karis. Like I said, I am an author. I have a debut young adult sapphic romance coming out in June. Nat and Cammy's Guide to Running an Undercover GSA comes out June 23, 2026. You can add it on Goodreads. You can pre-order it from bookshop.org. You can pre-order the ebook from Amazon. You can buy it however you want to. Just buy it. I beg. It's indie published, so it's me doing it. It's all me. And I'm also a podcast host of this podcast, obviously, as well as The Right Way of Life, which is an author interview craft-focused podcast that comes out on the opposite weeks from this one. So if you don't mind my voice and you want to talk about craft or listen to me talk to authors about craft, feel free to check that one out as well. So today is Saturday, February 21, 2026. I am in Brooklyn. We are gearing up for maybe not another big winter storm here. It's really up in the air. Nobody really knows what's coming. I hope we don't get it because I'm supposed to go to stand-up comedy tomorrow and I'm so excited. So I don't want anything to ruin that. And let's just talk about how things are going with me, which is poorly. My last episode for Publisher's Brunch came out 2 weeks ago, February 8th, and that day, later in that afternoon, something happened that was like a catalyst for a really, really awful mental health depressive episode, to the point that I got really scared. I will preface this with I will be talking a little bit about suicidal ideation for the next 30 to 60 seconds. Feel free to skip ahead if you are not in the mood to listen. I will try to say something or make it clear when that ends. But I was, for about 9 days, I think, every single day, I had at least one moment of very, very strong suicidal ideation, of intrusive thoughts that were so loud and almost very they were doing their job at intruding and sort of taking over what was going on with me and in my mind, and it was really hard to cope. I actually was looking into, for a minute there, taking advantage of a service that New York City offers for mental health to access more care, because it seemed like I was just drowning every day. I was floundering. Nothing was enough. I could go and I could hang out with friends and it would be great and I would smile and I would laugh and it would be real, but then I would come home and I would just sort of sink again. And I was only okay if I was completely distracted, which means either watching Heated Rivalry, obviously, because that's like the only thing that distracts me enough these days that fully takes my concentration, or reading a book, or listening to a podcast and doing something else, or talking to friends. It was really tough, and I'm finally, hopefully, sort of on the climb out of that, but it's been a really, really bad couple of weeks, and It's reminded me the power of community, because really I am still here because of my friends. I had, online friends who checked in on me multiple times a day. I had IRL friends who let me come over unexpectedly and hang out with them for a couple hours and sort of crash their evening, or who took me out to dinner to make sure that I could not only get some social time but also some food, because your girl was broke. It just reminded me that we can't do any of this alone. We cannot survive this life alone. I definitely can't. I mean, I need more people time than most people because of the extrovertedness and the depression and all of that. But none of us can make it alone. And I do think that, especially in this time in the world, in America, where in the United States of America, where we're living under a fascist regime, community is what's going to keep us safe, and it's also what's going to bring us to the other side of this. Like, we can't rely on judges or justices, obviously. We can't rely on our politicians even, because they either don't have the power to do anything or don't have the willingness to compromise their power, right, or their standing in order to make noticeable changes. And I'm not saying, I think politicians is fundamentally a difficult position to be in, because no matter your intentions, you have to compromise everything, and then no one's happy with you. So, sucks to be them, but also sucks to be us, because they're, for the most part, not doing anything. The institutions that are set up to protect us are failing, and so we have to protect each other. And I really think that there is power in that, and that we will get through to the other side. I cannot not believe that. Which brings me to the call to action, which I was gonna do a different order, but you know what? Let's live and let's learn. I have been thinking a lot lately, after reading a nonfiction book about the evangelical right in the U.S. It's called Wild Faith, and it's by Talia Lavin. I will leave a link in the title in the show notes so you can find it. But I found that to be very illuminating in terms of learning how much and for how long the evangelical politics, or like the evangelical cohort, has been working to take over the political right, and then also the rest of the country. I am someone who grew up in that bubble. I was not just an evangelical pastor's kid, I was a missionary kid. I grew up with this belief sort of embedded in my soul that it's my responsibility to take care of everyone else, not just here on earth, but more importantly in the afterlife. It's my responsibility to make sure that people make it to the afterlife. And it's their responsibility to listen to me, right? Like, we all have a responsibility here. Mine is to tell you the truth, yours is to listen and believe me. And I no longer believe that. I've left the church. I've disavowed so much of what I was raised in, but I know that there are still millions of people in the U.S. who believe that way, who think of proselytizing and missionary not as a form of colonization, but as a form of love, and who would see a Christian, maybe not even theocracy, but like a Christian nation, a weaker separation of church and state, as a good thing, as something that would lead to better times for all of us, which we know is not true. I mean, the further the right we have gone as a country, like, our social safety nets are failing, because for many people in the evangelical church, the belief is that, well, the church will take care of you, but that's not actually what's happening in reality. So today's call to action, and if you are not familiar, every week or every episode, I share something with a call to action for the betterment of ourselves and the world. And so today's is just educational. I have a couple articles that I'm going to link below, and a couple books that I'm going to link in the show below. What is this, YouTube? For some of you it is. That I'm going to leave in the show notes. Wild Faith by Talia Lavin, and another book which is called, dear me, I did not pull it up. Sick and Dirty, Hollywood's Gay Golden Age and the Making of Modern Queerness by Michael Koreski. And I read an excerpt of that was about the Hays Code and how in the 1930s it was the Catholics who had a lot of power and who sort of changed Hollywood for decades and made it a lot more, let's say, repressive. So I'll link that article as well. I just think unless you are intimately connected to evangelicalism, it's hard to fathom just how much power and influence the evangelical church has. And I think it's easy to say, like, yeah, they have a lot of power, but, like, it's all interconnected. And maybe everyone else knows this, and I'm just learning it now because I was raised in a cult. But it's all interconnected. The levers of power in this country point toward the evangelical God, no matter how hard we try not to get them there. And I think the least we can do is be aware of it. On that note, speaking of being aware, I'm trying to transition us smoothly, and there is no smooth transition. I'm going to talk about some romance novels now. Every night before bed, I read a romance novel, which means every 2 weeks I have at least 2 books to talk to you about. It's very exciting for me because romance is my favorite genre. I am always reading at least one romance novel, and that is the way I like it. Recently, I read Game Changer by Rachel Reed. Yes, it is the book 1 in the Game Changer series, in which Heated Rivalry is book 2. And I had been told it, it wasn't as good or whatever. And obviously the show decided to adapt book 2 and only devote 1 episode to Scott and Skip from book 1. But I really enjoyed their story. I found them so interesting, and I found myself at various points being like, no, Kip's in the wrong here, like, he should do this, and then no, Scott's in the wrong here, he should do this. And ultimately the truth is, they both fell in love with each other, but were humans, and so they each made mistakes that led to their, third act crisis. But it was a lovely time. It's also very steamy. It's a different flavor of love story than Shane and Ilya have, right? Because the levers or the like things moving against them are all external, and they're not 2 idiotic 19-year-olds who are keeping their sexuality secret, right? Like, it's very different. Idiotic is in they don't realize they love each other, not idiotic for staying in the closet. Obviously, I understand. Anyway, Shane and Ilya, idiots to lovers. Scott and Kip, just lovers. Let's go. After I finished that, I started reading Soul Searching by Layla Sage. You may have, if you've listened to other episodes or other podcasts, you'll have heard me talk about my journey through the Rebel Blue Ranch series over the past year. I fell absolutely head over heels in love with that series, and Soul Searching is not a departure so much as it's just like a slightly parallel version, right? It's Sweetwater Peak is similar to Meadowlark. It's got the same sort of small town, cozy, like Western, vibes. Western is in the west of America, but it's a little darker. It's got a hint of despair and sorrow, and it's got ghosts, and I'm loving it. I'm really loving it. I'm only about 40% through, but I'm finding that I really love the ghosts. I'm loving Collins's journey. I swear to God, her depression, it hasn't been named that on page, but I recognize myself, it's speaking to me. So I also highly recommend that one. Speaking of books that I recommend, there's a transition for you. This week I spoke with Leslie René, who is not just a good friend of mine. She is also the debut author of the upcoming Maggie and Arthur's Magic Moment, which comes out July 28, 2026 from Ace Books. And we had a wonderful conversation. We pretended we were at brunch. We broke the ice. We gossiped. We had heart-to-hearts. It was gorgeous. And I'll read you her bio, and then we'll just dive on in. Leslie René, she, her, is a writer from Virginia. Her debut novel, Maggie and Arthur's Magic Moment, will be published by Ace Books on July 28, 2026. During the day, Leslie is a science writer and editor. At night, she writes fantasy novels with a bit of romance, and romance novels with a generous helping of magic. Leslie loves to get lost in a good book, go to concerts, and turn yarn and thread into something pretty. Her happy place is playing in the garden with her family. Everybody, please give a warm welcome to Leslie René. Hey, Leslie, and welcome to Publishers Brunch with Karis. I don't know why I always do the quotes. I should do like a parentheses, but it is what it is. I'd make the wrong hand symbols. This is Leslie René, everyone. Leslie, would you like to introduce yourself and your books to the listeners?
Yes, hi everybody. I'm Leslie René, and my debut novel, Maggie and Arthur's Magic Moment, is coming out in July, on July 28th from Ace Books in the US, and I may have news to share about elsewhere soon, maybe.
Keep your eyes peeled.
Secrets. But definitely July 28th in the US.
And what is Maggie and Arthur's Magic Moment about? Can you pitch it?
Yes. So I can try. So Maggie and Arthur's Magic Moment is a contemporary romantasy about two grumpy professors at a magical college who have to work together to banish the dangerous spell that's threatening their school. And what they don't know is that they may have already kissed once before at a magical masquerade festival.
Delicious.
They don't know that. And they currently hate each other. So
extra delicious. I think contemporary romantasy is my favorite flavor of romantasy. Don't tell the second world girlies.
Well, I am both. I am a second world and a
That's so
contemporary
true. Yeah.
girly,
I love the idea of our world having magic. It feels so delicious. And, like, I already know our world. I don't need to adapt to another. Like, I'm putting myself in the story here, right? Like, if I were the main character, I would rather be in a contemporary fantasy than in, like, a second world. You feel?
Yes, and it's, well, Maggie and Arthur kind of lives in this little in-between space, which is why it's contemporary romantasy and not paranormal, because it is technically second world, so they're not really on Earth. They're in a different place with different rules and different magic. Like, it's not really our world, but it has like some of the trappings of our world. So they have phones and there's email and there's university budget cuts and like
all the worst parts of our world.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. Y'all, I'm so excited. I've known Leslie for a while, and I have read the first, like, maybe 30 or 50 pages of a previous draft of this book, and it just, like, lives in my brain in, like, a little pocket, and it's like, oh, yeah, Maggie and Arthur. Hell yeah. And I'm so excited to finally read the whole thing and, like, own it.
Let me get you on.
Yeah, please.
So yeah, I'm really excited for you to read it too. I'm really proud of this book and what it has become, and also like it is part of a series, so there's a sequel, and I've been working on book 2, and that was a new experience for me. Like, obviously I'd never written a sequel before, and I'd never written a connected romance before, and so, you know, kind of getting into it was one of the more challenging things that I've done. And now that I have like a solid draft of it that's with my editor, like I'm really just so excited for the world to meet those characters too. And Yay. You know, like the expansion of the world. So I'm really excited and nervous and scared.
I'm so excited. So as our listeners who have been here for a while will know, and as I will share for our new listeners, we are at brunch, metaphorically brunching, and I have come up with questions that are sort of like based on the vibes of what we might be discussing at that point of the brunch. So we've just sat down, we've gotten to know each other a little bit, we've introed ourselves. I didn't intro myself, but that's okay. You know me.
I know.
And now it's like a how are you doing question. And I always answer first because I want to like set the tone for like, it's okay to share as much or as little as you want to about like what's happening. Like this is not a how are you doing? Good. Okay, let's move on question. This is like a what do you want to share about how the world is like treating you and others right now? And so I think that the world is treating all of us very poorly currently. We deserve, most of us, the people who aren't in power and the people who aren't doing well deserve so much better than we're being given. And I have a lot of rage against the machine, as the band would say. And I'm also in this moment like dealing with a very severe mental health moment, like a bad depression where I'll share, I will have shared more about this when I record the intro, so I'm not going to get into all the details, all the nasty, dirty, gory details, but it's been really hard. And I look at like this moment, this literal moment of like us on this call doing this recording. It's like a bright spot in my week. I've been looking forward to it since we scheduled it. It's literally a bright spot on my calendar because it's a different color than all my other calendar events. So it's like I'd look at my calendar and be like, work, work. Oh my God, Leslie. Work, work. But yeah, that's how I'm doing. How are you? You don't have to share anything that you don't want to. You can just say, I'm good and move on, but you don't have to.
Well, first, I want to say this is also a bright spot for me, and I love you so much, and I'm so excited to be here, and I'm sorry you're going through it.
Yeah.
And I know that, like, we are all going through it to a certain extent right now, but you are really going through it, and I hope you know how much, like, I appreciate you and love you, and, like, how happy I am to be here.
You're gonna make me cry.
With you, specifically, in this moment. But yeah, we're all going through it, and it's a really hard time. And it's a really hard time to write. And it's a really hard time to write about, like, a world that's better than ours. Because even though, like, the back, like, the core of Maggie and Arthur, there are some of the frustrations of our modern life, and, like, they deal with it. A lot of their problems are of the supernatural variety instead of, and there are some like human bad guys in there too. Because humans are human, and I believe they're gonna human no matter what world they're in. But that has been uniquely challenging in this kind of moment in time to envision a world that like respects research. They're professors, so like respects research and like a scientific approach, even though it's magic. Like, you know, I'm a science writer during the day, and so we're really just constantly dealing with cuts to funding and services being taken away. And, you know, like I worked for a really long time on a patient education website that was shut down, and you know, for partially for many reasons, and it's a hard time in that world. And so, you know, I've been working with researchers who have finished a study that had really promising results, and like they have no idea if they're going to get their funding again for the future, and it's like that's life-saving medicine kind of stuff. So you know, anyway, so it's hard for everybody right now. So yeah, that's how I am.
It is hard, and I imagine that because I write contemporary these days, like, so I'm not tasked with imagining a better world. My task that I've given myself is like I write stories that reflect my rage at this world and trying to make it better, which in some ways is really hard, and in some ways is like easier, I think, than trying to be like than writing a brand new world, because it's hard in these days to imagine the world being better. And like I think, and I've talked about this a lot. I talk about it in my newsletter and in other podcast episodes, but I'm like an eternal baby optimist in the sense that like I'm mostly a pessimist, but there's this like tiny, 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 tiny little bit of hope that's like, I'm here. I'm not going anywhere. And like thank God for that because it keeps me going and it keeps me like able to like yesterday I was having dinner with a friend and I was just like we need to just like start over, like build a new government, like everyone who's in any position of power just like leave and then a whole new crop comes in and we just like restart. And I mean obviously that's not necessarily feasible or whatever. I'm not actually an architect of government. That would be a terrible idea. But I have this like tiny smidge of hope where it's like I have to believe that things will get better and I have to believe that like either they will see consequences or it will happen sooner rather than later. You know, my Threads friends will know what it is. Most of the internet knows what it is, like the day we celebrate. But yeah, but I also want to say, as someone who I read like I read across genres, so I read contemporary, I read paranormal, I read fantasy, and I have been reading so much, specifically romance lately. And so I'm a little bit wacky and wild, and I read like 5 to 6 books at a time across various formats and
I do the same
genres.
thing.
Oh my god, thank you! Yay! Do you also have
Yeah.
a 100 book TBR for each format?
Yeah, I mean, truly, like,
Yeah,
it's bad.
but like I follow it religiously. Like it's a list,
I
and I
don't
just
do.
like go down the list. Yeah.
That's crazy. I don't do that.
I am the opposite of a mood reader. People are like I'm a mood reader and I'm like that's terrifying. I could not. But yeah, so I'm always but the one that's consistent is every night before bed I read at least 10% of the romance novel that I'm reading. At
I
least 10
love that.
it's wild. And like that's where I find like joy and hope and like comfort. And so I think that whether you're writing contemporary romance or paranormal romance or romantasy or whatever, whether you're envisioning a better world or you're writing a story where like this world is sucky but we're finding hope through it, like those are the stories that for me at least like remind me, they give me hope and they give me a little bit of strength to keep going. So all that to say like it's really fucking hard to write them, but I'm really grateful that you are because I know they're gonna keep people going.
Thank you.
So,
And I mean, that's why I write the genre that I do, is
mm-hmm.
because when, I've always wanted, I think I've literally told the story to you, but and also like when we recorded another podcast together. So regular listeners will know.
Cares
Um,
fans. No, just kidding. Those don't
no,
exist.
they do. Number one president over here of the fan club. So when, I had always had a dream of being a writer, but it didn't really solidify for me until I started focusing on the genres that brought me joy. For a long time I was trying to write like literary fiction and climate fiction and like these really
Oof.
heavy stories of like, you know, that still had speculative elements to them, but that were at their core rather bleak. And during COVID, I had a 2-year-old, and who's now almost 9. But he was 2 at the time, and it was a really hard time. Again, hard for everybody. Um,
But especially hard for
uniquely,
parents of little kids.
uniquely hard for parents
Mm-hmm.
of toddlers, and even harder for parents with elementary school students, I think. But I couldn't focus on anything but like Zelda and Animal Crossing and like fantasy romance novels that I read when I was 12.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm not a middle grade writer or a YA writer, but I really was like, you know
Mm-hmm.
what? Why am I trying so hard to write these stories that I never finish when what I love to read are the stories that are magical and romantic, and even if at their core they're also about darkness, there
Mm-hmm.
is light in them. And I think that's what I was missing in some of the other fiction I was writing. Like, it was about the darkness, but there wasn't light, and there wasn't hope, and there wasn't kind of that happy ending or that, looking to the future.
Yeah.
It was just commentary on what was. And once I clicked into that, it was easy. It was easy to write. It was easy to tell the story. It was easy to find the hope and the light in the darkness. So I mean, my characters, my novel is cozy. It is. It has cozy elements to it, but it's not really a cozy romance or a cozy romantasy because there is darkness. I like to say, it's a romance, but there's a rip in the fabric of space and time. It's a romance, but there are ghouls and ghosts and wraiths and banshees and monsters.
Oh, I'm so excited.
It's a romance, but there are budget cuts and, toxic ex-boyfriends. So,
Oh, yeah.
The darkness is there and the darkness exists, but there's a way through it. And I think that was what was missing when I was trying to tell stories before. And I hope that for people who are going through the darkness, my books can show a way through it.
I love that. And I hope that too. And I look forward to when we reconvene in a year and you have stories from readers telling you how much your book means. We're going to move on to some icebreaker questions, which is my favorite part. And then I tell people, and they're like, icebreaker questions? What are you talking about? And I have to be like, no, they're fun ones. So if you did not have to sleep, what would you do with the extra time?
Oh my God, so much, because I now have 2 kids, and so a lot of my day, I love being with my kids and I love spending time with them, but there is this phenomenon called revenge bedtime procrastination, which is where so much of my day is taken up by work. I also do some freelance work and then plus writing my novels and then also children. So the actual time I have to do nothing is pretty much zero. Zero.
Yeah.
And so I think I would spend part of that time doing nothing. I would just sit there
it.
and stare at the wall or watch a TV show or clean my house because my house is a disaster because when you write and have a full-time job and have kids you have to not do something, and the thing I don't do is clean my house.
That's so fair. I also don't clean my house, and I don't even have the kids as an excuse.
I mean, the main living area and the kid space is clean, but my camera is angled very intentionally right now. Okay, that's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
So maybe I'd clean my house a little bit. I would read. I would read so much because I really have to make a huge effort to carve out time specifically for reading. And I listen to so many audiobooks because at least the times I do have to clean the house or working on spreadsheets or doing something like that, I'm always locked into an audiobook. But I really miss sitting down and reading a book, a physical book. Oh my God,
there's something so special about holding it, turning the pages, feeling the weight.
Right. I have a stack of them that I carry around with me from room to room and then never touch.
Incredible.
Until I give in and just either buy the audiobook or buy the ebook.
Yeah, that's real.
Yeah. So that's what I would do.
I would watch Heated Rivalry once per night, all 6 episodes, and then I would try to write something that captures even 1/10 of the yearning and angst and staying power of that love story. Yeah, that's what I would do. I wish I had an extra 8 hours a day now.
Oh my God, I know. I for forever. So ancient history, but I used to be a book blogger before Instagram, before because I've been on the internet for a really long time, and so I had a book blog ages and ages and ages and ages ago. And I think my tagline was wish I didn't have to sleep so I could read or something like that. So this has been a dream of mine for
incredible
many years.
One more question. What is the best thing that you have crossed off your author bucket list so far?
Oh my God. Um, well, I have. Can I name like three things?
Yeah,
I
please.
have the most supportive and lovely family, um, who are just completely all in on my like smutty romanticism. And I'm like, this it's so sweet and they're just so nice and wonderful. And so when I wrote my first, like finished my first book, I didn't even want to tell anybody. And my one sister was like, "That's stupid. We're telling everybody." And literally, like in front of everybody, was just like, "Hey guys, Leslie wrote a book. Let her know if you want to read it."
Terror.
Right. And I was like, "Okay." But then a lot of them did read it, and a lot of them have, and I know that's not every family, right? Like I know that not every family reads their loved ones' books, and like so many of my relatives have read it, and they've read my first book, and now they've read Maggie and Arthur, and like I don't
They
know,
love
like I
that.
just didn't think that I would like and I until I before I got my book deal, I was like, I don't even care. Like because like I've got these like this like group of readers who are like I do care about it. Like I'm very excited about my book deal.
Oh, yeah.
But I it just is so special to me that they care and that they want to read it and they like it. Like it matters to me that they like it. So they're some of my first readers. Um,
That's
and
amazing.
then yeah, it's really special. And I love them all so much. So if any of them listen to this, which I doubt they will, they'll read my books, but I don't know if they'll listen to a podcast. Uh, because I don't think they listen to any podcasts, not
Fair
because
enough.
they won't listen to this one. Um, but you know, they are they're just really great. Um, and then I had a friend who I shared like a snippet of something, a scene in a Discord that I'm in. And she reached out to me a little while later and was like, "Hey, I made this mood board based on that scene you wrote because it just moved me so much." And I was like, "What?"
That's
That's
incredible.
incredible. Incredible. Like it like I think I cried. I like it's beautiful. It's like so stunning and I keep it in a cherished folder on my phone. Like I love it so much. And um that was just really special. So
Your first fan
there
art.
are I know, and like there are like I have my first event coming up at the end of the month, which I'm really excited about. Um but those are kind of the two that really stick out to me is like it's just really special to like write something and have someone tell you that it moved them, but then like when there's someone that's close to you, I don't know, it's just really special and it's really nice.
I will add, as someone who is in Discords with you where you have shared snippets, every one of them, I'm like, what the fuck? This is so good. It's so moving. I have feelings. Like, how do you do it? Meanwhile, I'm over here and I share snippets and it's like one line. It's just
And they're
like, hey,
great.
sexy.
I'm
And yours
sorry,
are
the
like deep feelings. Like, I'm crying. I don't even know the characters yet. It's incredible.
thank you. But also I love your hey sexy snippets. So
You gotta have a hey sexy snippet every
you're
once in a
really
while.
underselling the like appeal of a like really sexy little snippet. So
Yeah, maybe. um, well, that was our appetizer round. So now we're moving on to the entrees. We're like more comfortable with each other. We're gonna start gossiping a little bit,
oh,
which
okay.
I love. So, what is the best story that you have heard, seen, witnessed, read in the past like couple weeks? And this could be a fictional story that you saw on TV or read in a book, or like something you witnessed at a cafe, like a first date that was really awkward or really great, or something that happened to you.
Oh. Whoa. Oh my god. Um, is it okay if it's really old? Because like
Yeah.
the only thing that's going to mind. Um, so for whatever reason, a couple of weeks ago, I don't even know
Yeah.
at this point. I was talking to our mutual friend Sonia, author of
Yes.
Deathbringer,
Hmm.
about New York City rats.
Oh my
Okay.
god. quite the
Um,
quite the topic.
quite the topic. Like literal New York City rats, to be clear.
Hmm.
And I lived in New York for 3 years, and loved
Hmm.
it and think every day about going back.
Do it.
But, well, I know, but
Come back,
I tell
visit
my
me.
husband all the time, I'm like, we're gonna retire to New York, okay?
Hell
Like, not,
yeah.
like, I feel like people do the opposite. They, like, retire away from New York, and I'm like, no, we're going back, okay?
100%.
Um, but we were telling stories about New York rats, and I have one to share with you, which is I was on the subway. I used to have this crazy New York commute,
Oh
where I was
no.
on the F train for an hour every day,
Yep. Been there.
and yeah, I think most people have. And so, like, I worked in publishing, I worked at Workman, which was in the Village, and then I lived
Mm.
in Queens, like far into Queens, and so I was just on that train all the time.
Yeah.
And one day I'm on the train and I'm like, I was always reading or sleeping. I slept on the train all the time.
Well, yeah.
Um,
You're a New Yorker. You sleep on the
it's
train.
such a good nap. Like it's
Yeah.
such a good nap. And all of a sudden people start screaming, like screaming. And I was like,
Oh no.
what is happening? Like, why, why is a train full of New Yorkers screaming? Honestly, that's a
A
frightening
hundred
experience
percent. A
because people are
hundred
usually
percent.
very like seen it all.
Yeah.
And what it was there was a rat. We were at a station and there was a rat on the platform. And he sticks his little head in to the train, like, oh, is this the right one? Like, he's gonna get on. Like, just like really casual, like, mm. And the train is losing it. Like, everybody is like, ah! And like, what was gonna happen? What, like, was he
You
gonna get
just
on?
sit down
Was
and
he
lift your
not?
feet.
Right. And so he decided it wasn't the right train. It wasn't going where he needed it to go. So he just kind of scooted out and then the doors
Saunters
closed.
back over.
Right. And then like we all had to just pretend that like 5 seconds ago we weren't all I was not screaming. I was just like I didn't know what to
You
do.
were just waking up.
Yeah, right. Probably. Um, and so yeah, I
Oh my
mean, it
god.
was just the funniest. Like it was so
The
like the
rat's
rat was
like,
so it just looked like a human in a rat.
he's like, I need to get to the Bowery. Can this
Right.
take me there? Oh
Right.
no,
Is this
wrong
the right
direction.
train? Yeah.
Oh my
Oh, like
god.
no, I need an express. I'm not getting on this.
Yeah. Do
Like,
you ever think about like this reminds me of like sometimes I'll think about like what if you're like a fly or like a rat or something and all you've ever known is this one area and you get on the subway and you get off again. You're trapped on the subway and you get off and you're like, it's a whole new world.
no,
You've
I
lost
think
your
about this all the
family.
time.
You've
I
lost
think
your
about
friend.
this all the time when there's like a bug on your car or something.
Right. You're like,
And
baby,
you
get
drive
off.
somewhere. Yeah, like no, like I there was like a bee on your car or something
Yeah.
like
Like your
that,
whole
and then like
universe just changed.
you get there and they fly off and they're like, I have no idea where I am. And hopefully, I hope I get an entomologist in my DMs being like, girl, don't worry. They're gonna find their way.
If you
That
are
would
an
actually,
entomologist and you are listening, please let us know if the flies are okay.
please slide into Leslie's DMs and reassure her that the bee is okay because she
Yes.
thinks about it all the time.
The bee specifically, this one bee. Oh my god.
I do. But yeah, we were having a really good time talking about the rats of New York. There was another story that I told where my apartment used to have these just like a row of trash cans out in front of
Oh
it,
god,
just
yeah.
like 8 trash cans, and there was always rats in there
Of
and
course.
squirrels and raccoons and like whatever because they didn't have lid like insane. There I have so many stories about that apartment
Yeah.
by the way like So many.
Mm-hmm.
But one day, I walked by and a rat like pops out, and he quite literally has a whole pizza box and is like holding a piece of pizza and eating it. Like he ordered the pizza to his trash can and was just like eating it.
Imagine you work at Domino's and it's like, send the pizza to the trash can. Domino's would just be like, all right,
Okay.
gotta quality
Yeah.
check this trash can
Fine.
pizza.
You know?
Put it on the tracker.
Right? So,
That's
yeah.
amazing. Could you share some recent obsessions in the vein of either books, movies and TV shows, movie shows, items, like what is making your life, what is like commanding your attention these days?
Yes. I have 3 things to share with you.
I love it.
Which, like, sounds like I knew what that question was going to be, but it's
It does.
really
You were so ready.
I was so ready, but really I am just 100% obsessed with these things. So, during, when I was writing book 2 and was, like, wildly overwhelmed, I wasn't allowing myself to read anything because I was just so stressed. But then I got to a point when I was writing where I was like, I don't even remember what a book sounds like. What is a book? Like, I don't.
What are words?
What are words? So I was like, I need something just like really fun. And so I hyperfixated on Bride by Allie Hazelwood.
Oh, yes.
Like, it was my job. I like haven't gotten so sucked into a book like that in so long, and it was so fun.
I remember.
I know. I was in the Discord every day, like, hello, every day, as if I didn't read it in like 24 hours, but
Right.
like, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, and then I followed it up with Mate, of course. So yeah, that was one.
Nice.
In terms of like TV shows, I am fully invested in The Pit.
Okay.
I love The Pit. I love all the actors on The Pit. I love every person who spends their time making elaborate ship
Names?
videos on TikTok.
Perfect.
I don't care who you ship. I don't care. If you make a really nice video about it, I'm in. And The Pit is one of those shows where, like, because it's so contained to one location, it takes place in an ER over one day. So every season is one shift.
One day. Wow.
It's really just you really only see this like very small snippet of their lives, and so I think it's just a really fertile ground for fanfic and for shipping and like imagining the background stories of these characters where you really only know a little bit about them and you get these kind of like kernels of information. And so it's really easy to just kind of like put whatever you want on them, and then like little interactions between characters, like you could get a whole edit out of it. Like
It's like something that's like tailor made for the fandom to imprint upon and like create their own versions.
Yeah, totally. And so like there have been pairings where I like when I first hear about them and I'm like, I don't see that at all. Like, no. And then I get one quality edit on my feed and I'm like, I'm in.
Let's go.
Let's go. So that's a big one for me. Thursdays, I'm locked in, ready to watch. So, a beloved character is coming back this Thursday because he's on the night shift. So we're getting close.
It's almost night.
Not even. I don't know why he's coming in so early.
We've all been there.
You know. So yeah, so The Pit, I'm all in. And I don't get to watch a lot of TV, so to like be all in on a TV show is like, it's fun.
Yeah.
Excited to be back in business.
Back in business. Yeah.
So yeah, and then in terms of like other things, This is gonna sound like to me like past Leslie would be like, "What are you talking about?" I've gotten really into instant coffee and Nescafe.
Intriguing.
Okay, yeah. So like, let me fill you in here. So I'm the only person in my house who drinks coffee, so like I can't make pot.
Okay.
So I like have gotten into in the past like pour over, do
Mm-hmm.
that sometimes. Sometimes I like buy the bottles of iced coffee because I almost always drink it cold.
Mm-hmm.
But I, on a whim at Costco, got the like giant thing of Nescafe, which I don't know why anybody does anything on a whim at Costco because like, what if you hate it? And then you're stuck
Fair
with it,
enough.
which happens to me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so I've been making my iced coffee in the morning with Nescafe. I honestly think it tastes better than a lot of the coffee I make at home. So
Bold
that's my
take.
current obsession
I like it.
list.
I don't like it because I think that you should be
Thank you.
using a mocha pot,
Hmm.
but I support it.
I get that, but also I don't like cleaning things.
Oh, I never cleaned my mocha.
Which, if my husband listens to this podcast,
I shouldn't have said that.
oh,
You know what the mocha is? It's like the
well,
espresso one where you just put it
um,
on the burner and it like boils up. I'll
oh,
send you a
I
link.
can't use that because I have an induction cooktop.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't
interesting.
think it would work,
Huh.
but I do know what they are.
Okay, good.
I also
Yeah.
think you probably should clean it.
Listen, I
Not
asked my
judging.
dad and he was like, I never clean mine. And I was like, all right,
Oh,
whatever.
well, maybe I'm wrong.
I
Maybe I'm
should
wrong. I
Google
don't know.
it. Someone tell me. If you're Italian, let me know.
All right, so the Italians are going to be in your DMs, the entomologist and mine.
Let's
Got it.
go. We're gonna have a little heart to heart. What is your most earnest or
What have we been doing?
sincere? Listen, shh, we
I
were
thought we were already
gossiping.
having a hard time,
We
Karis.
were
Okay.
gossiping just
About the
now
rats.
about the rats, as you do. What is your most earnest or sincere romance or romance novel opinion?
Oh, let people be annoying.
In general, about certain things, like,
No, like characters specifically.
okay.
Let
Oh my god,
characters
yes.
be annoying.
Let them be a
Um,
little, like, insufferable.
yeah. Because I don't know if you've met a person, but like most of them are annoying for for like part of the time.
Oh my god, you're so
Um,
right. Everyone has, like, at least one insufferable quality where you're like, oh, you're doing the, grin and bear it, baby, grin and bear it.
and yes, like that to that point too, but I also think people just make bad decisions. Like they
Yeah.
just do, like all the
Oh yeah.
time.
Oh my god.
Um,
Yeah.
and I know that a lot of people read romance novels and for escape for part of the time, but to me there's like nothing like it's a very human story at its core. And all not like all
Mhm.
stories are. Um
Well,
and
there's
so
nothing to me more escapist than like this character is so annoying and this other character is so obsessed with them. That gives me hope that someone could be obsessed with me someday.
I feel that way about myself too. Like
It's
I
like,
don't know,
oh, I
like
hate her, but he loves her.
no, that's totally valid, and I think one of the reasons why I like enemies to lovers or like rivals to lovers so much is because it's like, oh, like,
You
you
can
know,
find something to love even when you hate someone.
yeah.
Hate.
Um, right. But I just genuinely think that like bad decisions and um annoying qualities and characters being a little insufferable um
Mm-hmm.
across the board, like,
Yeah.
regardless of gender, uh,
Yeah.
is very human. And that's something that I personally love in a
Mm-hmm.
story, is when you can feel the humanity of it and you can, like, the people feel real and it feels like they're making real decisions. And so I would like us to let characters be messy and let them be weird and let them be awkward and let them make bad decisions. And now, like, from a craft perspective, we can have a conversation about, like, if you think that the characters are acting in a way that the author hasn't set them up to.
Yeah.
But, like, if characters are kind of, like, acting within their personality and they make bad decisions, like, that's just called being human, baby. Like,
yeah, there's something so real, too, about people wanting characters to not make mistakes or, like, not fuck up or be quote-unquote problematic, and, like, assuming that the author, like, and this is something that scares me because in my upcoming In Nat and Cammy, one of the main characters, Cammy, has, like, a really problematic mentality for, like, 85% of the book. And, like, people are calling her out on it, like, from page 1, basically. They're like, hey, bitch.
yeah.
Settle down. But, like, it takes her most of the book to, like, for her to realize, like, oh, I'm being, like, super unfair. And, like, this is not good for me. It's not good for my friends. Like, I'm hurting my friends, like, that kind of stuff. And I remember the first person who read the book made a note and was like, it's so brave. This was my advisor in grad school. She was like, I love that Cammy has, like, is, like, fucking up like this. Like, it's really brave of you to include this. And I was like, oh, I'm brave.
You are brave.
Yeah. So, that was cute.
But yeah. No, yeah, I agree with that. I think that I think that people, you know, because there's a real dislike of, like, the miscommunication trope. And I think what people at their core, what people don't like is when it feels like the whole plot could be resolved with a single conversation. And I agree that that's, like, you know, not great either from a craft perspective. But I think in general, this idea that people aren't going to communicate or are going to hide things from their partners or, you know, aren't necessarily going to understand why they do the things they do. It's like I think there's a tendency to want to kind of over explain why characters are, and I do it. I know I do it. Like, I know it's there. Like, to kind of justify, like, oh, why are they making this decision? And, like, unfortunately I don't write a lot in first person, so I don't run into this too often. Like, I don't think people know why they make the decisions they do. Like, people don't. Yeah. I know, like, when I make a bad choice, I, like, have to sit there and really think about, like,
why did I do this?
What was the root of that? And, like, sometimes it's not clear for, like, a really long time, like, years and years. You're like, oh.
Yeah. Vibes-based decision making is a real thing.
It's a real thing. And so, like, my most earnest take is that humans are messy and awkward and weird and annoying, and we should let them be that way in books too.
Hear, hear. Could you share, or do you want to share, one good and or bad, like, hard thing that has happened to you along your publishing journey?
Let me think. I mean, so many good things have happened and some hard things have happened too. I don't think you get into, like, you don't get through this industry without experiencing rejection or, difficult things. So, excuse me. But I think for me, my experience has mostly been very good. I think it was one of the things that to me was really interesting and really special was, like, throughout my querying journey and, I was really fortunate to speak to a lot of different agents, which gave me the opportunity to get a lot of different perspectives on my book and, like, how it should be edited before we went on submission. And so, I heard some things that I agreed with and some things that I didn't agree with, and kind of the general, but the, like, one thing kind of going through it was, like, this book kind of sits in a real in-between space and genres. And so we should maybe, like, pull some of the magic back and make it a little bit more, lighter on the magic to kind of bring in readers who maybe aren't familiar with fantasy.
Yeah.
I heard that from a lot of people. And, you know, we did, even when I edited it with my current agent, we did kind of pull a little bit of it back. Not a lot, but a little bit of it. And then I had my first meeting with my editor, Sarah, at Berkeley. And one of the very first things she said to me, she was like, let's add more magic. Like, let's bump this up. Like, lean into the fantasy side of this. And I was like, oh my God. Like, screaming inside. I was like, oh yeah, I think we can do that.
Yeah, I'd be down for that.
And so we added, like, she really wanted me to lean into this, like, the academic, like let's make it feel like a novel about academia. Like, let's make it feel like, you know, their research, and like go for it with these like kind of longer sections about describing the research they're doing, and like, well, what was she researching before, and like what was he researching before, and like some of these things that I had left a little vague on purpose to let readers fill in on their own. She was like, no, like, what is that, like, explain it to me, explain it to the reader. And so that was just like such a thrilling experience to find a kindred spirit who like really wanted those details too. So that was really wonderful.
I love that. That's really validating too, that like you were like, my instincts were right.
Yeah, there was one other thing, which I'm not going to share what it is because it's a little bit of a spoiler, but I like essentially had 50-50 reactions from people about if it happens in the right place.
Gotcha.
And I was very adamant that it had to happen when it did, and that it was like core to the book, but it is a little bit of a, I don't know if I would say it's like a rule breaker, but it's a little bit of a risk.
Okay.
And I think the reward is worth it. Almost
Nice.
everybody who's read the book and like everybody who's read the book and like given me real-time feedback has had the same exact reaction to that chapter.
Okay.
And so I'm really glad that I stuck to my guns on it. And also like when I worked with Sarah, she was like, she didn't say anything, she was like, it's in the exact right spot. So
Perfect. I love that.
is that the phrase? Did I use the right phrase?
Which phrase?
Never mind.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. So dessert. What are some books that you have read and adored lately that you think listeners should check out?
I have a long list.
Let's go.
Because there are some really great books coming out. So, and also some really great books that are already out that I've read lately.
Yeah.
But I read recently Letters from the Last Apothecary.
Okay.
By Bita Behzadi, and I loved that one so much. So much. It's like cozy, and it takes place in like a turn of the century. It's a romantasy. Cozy romantasy. It takes place in like turn of the century city based on Chicago.
Okay.
And it's about an apothecary where two people who have been writing letters to each other, but they don't necessarily know that it's them, start working together, and they annoy each other very much. So it's a kindred spirit to Maggie and Arthur in a lot of ways, because it's definitely got that like grumpy pairing, and they know each other but don't know it, and I really love the world that Bita has made, and it's really just a wonderful book. I've also really liked lately Until the Clock Strikes Midnight, which is a YA novel by Alechia Dow. I just think it's so sweet and charming and wonderful in every way.
I have it on my shelf because I met her in New York at her launch event. And
oh my god, I actually have it right
delight.
here too.
Oh my god, isn't it so pretty?
It's
Oh, so
so
pretty.
pretty.
Yeah.
So pretty.
I'm so
Um,
excited to read it.
and like, his
I
expression.
know.
I love them so much. I really love it.
Yeah.
And it features a plus size main character, which I also really love. And
Mm-hmm.
um, the main character, and there's bipolar rep also. Like, it's
Yes.
so good.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't started it yet, but I am so excited to read Second Time's a Charm by Taylor Epperson,
Yeah.
which is another cozy romantasy coming out
Mm-hmm.
in March or April, I think. And then a couple others that I'm really excited for: Wench by Erin Rivers, Bound by Fury by Noelle Monét.
Oh my god, yes.
Really just super excited. Also, you know, with sports romance, I feel like there are so many good ones coming out. But I'm really excited for 30 Love by Tom Vellner,
Yes.
which is a tennis
Yeah.
romance. Oh my gosh, I have more. Should I just keep going?
You can keep going. Yeah.
Chase Me If You Can by Heather Francis, which is a tornado chasing romance. Super excited for that one.
Love that.
I read the first chapter of The Bridge Back to You by Riss Nelson last night, and I literally was like, I have to go to bed, but I can't, because what that, like, the opening chapter of that book is like a masterclass. Like, it is so good. It is so good. It like you, it sucks you in. It's really so good. Like, there's so much character work, and you really feel like you already know the main character so well. And then there's this like bomb dropped at the very end of that first chapter where I'm like, oh my god.
That's awesome.
Then Maggie and Arthur is not technically a STEM novel because it's about magic, but the magic is very
Science, technology,
sciencey.
engineering, and magic.
Oh my god. That's perfect. I'll be using that from now on. Thank you.
You're welcome.
But it does share a spirit with the like STEM romances that have come out. I comped the Love Hypothesis when I was
Very
querying.
nice.
And so there are a few of those that are coming out, but one that I'm really excited about, which I think I also have right here. I remember that stack of physical books that I told you about at the beginning of the podcast. We're calling back to that right now because it's literally right by my bed.
Hell yeah.
Love and
Oh,
Other Brain
yeah.
Experiments by Hannah Brohm. Also has a really wonderful first chapter. I loved it so much. And then It's All in Your Head by Sabina Nordqvist.
Yeah.
Really can't wait to read this.
Very nice.
That's
Amazing.
my list.
That was
That's
so
my
many
stack.
amazing books. Thank you for sharing. But we are wrapping up brunch. We're gonna do a final toast. Cha-ching.
Okay.
So the toast is this. Picture this. It's
Okay.
Victorian England, Oliver Twistian times. You're just walking down the street. Someone approaches you. They have a soap box, a literal box of soap. They plunk it down in front of you, and they give you a megaphone, and they say, Leslie, get on the soapbox. What are you saying? What does the world need to know?
Oh my gosh. Well, I feel like I already went on my little soapbox spiel earlier about let characters be messy, but
We love multiple soapboxes.
yeah, I've got a few other ones. I also went on a soapbox about cancer research earlier, so let me
All
get
very
on.
important things. Let's
Let
be
me get
so
on
real.
another one. I think that if you are a writer in this industry, it is a really hard time to be in it. For many, many different reasons. And if I had one piece of advice, for people who are either just starting out or for people who are trying to make a go of it, it is that you have to, and I say this as somebody who worked in publishing for a while, and it kind of killed her. Like, it killed my drive to be a part of this industry for a long time. And I came back to it with the end goal of publishing. And I knew that when I came back to it, like, I really had to find peace and, like, joy in the writing itself and in the connections that I made with other writers. That was something I found along the way, right? Like wanting to write for the joy it brings me. And then when I started, meeting other writers and connecting with other writers, like leaning into the joy that those connections bring me. And like, it sounds really cheesy to say, like, it was all in the friends we made along the way. But I really genuinely believe that like some of the most generous, creative, funny, interesting people are writers, and the writers that I have met through this experience. And so I think it's hard these days to find your people because like so many of our social networks are fractured. But there are places out there where you can make those connections. And so my soapbox is, like, get to the point, Leslie. My soapbox is be generous, be kind, and be uplifting. And like really work to maintain those connections and meet people, because they are the ones that are going to kind of get you through this really difficult industry. I know that that's been true for me, and like my one hope is that like I keep giving back to the community that has given me so much, and like keep uplifting new and baby authors, just the way that more experienced authors have helped me along the way. So I don't know, I hope that came across as a soapbox and not me just like
No, that was good and a good reminder. And I will add that my writing community has transcended my writing life. The people that I am close to, that I met through writing groups or various other writing things, like they are real life friends who have legitimately, like literally, like saved my life at times. They have stepped in and like housed me when my AC was broken, like when my bed broke. Like they are so important to me, and we connected because we have this love of writing and reading, but they are whole universes unto themselves. And I just think you're right. Like, there's some of the best people that I know. And, like, obviously you need friends who aren't writers to, like, reality check you sometimes. But, like, I love having so many friends who are writers, who are also just, like, genuinely really good friends, who show up for me, and who I try to show up for when I can.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think this industry is too hard to be in without a support network, and you need people who understand it. And so
yeah. And if you don't, you might find yourself thinking it's a good idea to one-star a bunch of your fellow debuts on Goodreads, but we don't need to get into that. Leslie, could you share with us what you've got coming up that's exciting, and how readers or listeners can find and support you online and IRL?
Yes. So I have an event coming up at the end of the month with Park Books Maryland. I'm really excited about it. It's a romance panel that is, like, frankly, an incredible panel. I'm like, hi, I don't have a book out yet, but I'm here.
And you deserve to be there.
They're, like, just an incredible group. Just, they're, like, truly, like, so incredible. So, really looking forward to that. And you can find all the information about it on my website, which is by Leslie René, RENE.com. And I guess Leslie could be spelled different ways, but that's Leslie.
Yes.
Also, I am Leslie Should Be Writing on Instagram and by Leslie René everywhere else. I can't give up that cutesy little Instagram handle, even though I probably should from a branding perspective.
That is so real.
So, yeah, I hope you'll check. I'm like, I know from a branding and marketing perspective that all of these should match, and also I don't want to give it up.
Yeah.
So you can find me there. I'm on Instagram a lot more than I should be. I'm on Threads too much. Hope that you will check me out. Join me as I try to figure out how to market a book, because that's not something I know how to do, but I need to do it. So
Yay.
I'm getting better at Canva.
Hell yeah, brother. Canva. My nemesis. Okay, thank you so much, Leslie.
They should sponsor this podcast.
They really, oh my god, they should. Canva, call me.
Get in Karis's DMs.
Please, you and the Italians. And on
And
that
the
note, and the entomologists. Okay, so if you're if you're an Italian entomologist who works for Canva, best of all worlds, call me. Thank you. And that's that. I hope you enjoyed this episode with Leslie. I always love talking to her. She's genuinely one of my favorite people. She's just so kind and warm and an incredibly talented writer. I have read the first, I don't know, like 45 document pages of Maggie and Arthur's Magic Moment, and I still think about it, and I can't wait to hold the book in my hands and read the finished version. I hope you guys enjoyed this conversation, and I hope that you will go ahead and pre-order Leslie's book. I'll leave a link in the show notes. Please, if you are a romance author and you would like to be a guest on Publishers Brunch, please reach out. If you know an author that you think would be a great guest on Publishers Brunch, please let me know. I am looking to fill spots for the rest of the year and onward, and I'm having a blast with this podcast. It's really a project that brings me a lot of joy, and so I'd love to continue it. I would love to, if you like it, if you enjoy these episodes, if you want to share with a friend or two or 70 or your entire social following, that would really warm my heart. So thank you so much. I love you. Ciao.